Hello. Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. Happy sunny Thursday, and welcome to the Green Umbrella Live Lunch. So, just the three of us hanging out today. Nicole is on leave tomorrow. You know what it's like when you're about to go off on holiday, and it's just like you've got so many things to do. So we said, "Don't worry, Nicole. Have the hour back." And hopefully she'll finish the day on time without any stresses. Now she's got this little bit of time back, but it's like it's like the I was going to say the old crew, but we're not old. The original. What's the phrase? They're like it's with the OGs. Yes, the original gangsters. Is that what it stands for? It is, isn't it? OGs. I was never that cool. Clearly.
Definitely not straight.
No. So yeah, it's just us, which is kind of nice because it's been a while since it's just been the three of us on live lunch.
Yeah.
As long as I don't have to say anymore, that's fine.
I'm like, I just want everyone to know I'm in Mark's bad books because I'm not very good at something. I'm really freaking good at a lot of things, but there's some things I'm not very good at. And today it's caused a problem for Mark. And I'm very regretful. I'm full of regret. And I've learnt never try and help Mark because I just make it worse. It's actually a freaking miracle that Mark's on this call today. So I just want everyone to acknowledge that and know that I love you, Mark. And I hope you still love me, please. But like I said, other than everything being really busy and me actually, causing more problems than anything else this week, I mean, it's actually been, Paul Green's like, fess up, what have you done? I'm not saying. Mark can share it if he wants to, because there's a big lesson for everyone in there about not leaving things to the last minute and knowing what you actually want and communicating it. Communicating a brief.
It was like working with a client.
It's like sometimes when you want something done and you're working with a marketing agency, if you change it in your head, you have to communicate with everybody in the chain. So there's something called sometimes it's called the ARCI model and sometimes it's called the RACI model, RACI, and it's like who's accountable, who's responsible, who needs to be communicated with, and who needs to be informed, right? And basically, I was responsible, but there was no one keeping me accountable, and therefore I didn't communicate and I didn't inform. And then shit hit the fan this morning, and it's all my fault. And now I've remembered we're live, but it's all good. So yeah, like I said, sometimes things go wrong, but we're cool. Mark's awesome. He just fixes stuff. It's brilliant.
It's
brilliant.
It's
fixed. It's fixed. So, okay. Over the last week, it's the last 2 weeks really. So there's quite a few things that have happened social media wise, like updates, news, that kind of thing. And obviously last week we had Jodie join us, which was fantastic, talking about merchandise and that sort of stuff. We can't cover everything. So I've got some headlines that I'd love to discuss, but like over to you guys first. What do you want to bring up? What should we talk about today?
I've got a couple of things. Sorry, my dog was just barking because the postman has just walked past. So sorry about that. I had a few stats on YouTube Shorts. So this is something we've kind of talked about a little bit, YouTube Shorts, but we've not really done much ourselves with it. And I don't know who else really uses it. I haven't watched many, but apparently there's 1.5 billion people log in every month and watch Shorts on YouTube. And 70% of them say that they do this every day and that they love watching them. And there is also a few stats around the fact that channels who upload both long and short form content are getting better overall watch times and better subscriber growth than the ones who are just doing long form content. So and apparently there's viewed a lot more on mobile, but I guess it's the sort of thing, isn't it? You're on TikTok, you might go on YouTube Shorts, you're on your phone, you just quick snackable content, as we've said before, and that's why these things are really popular. But yeah, it was just interesting because I never thought in a million years there'd be 1.5 billion sort of people doing it. Now my door's just gone and the dog's barking further. I will ignore it, but sorry.
Yeah. Do you know, I haven't seen, I suppose when I go and watch something on YouTube, I'm going very specifically for something. So I don't actually watch a lot of YouTube content. My brain doesn't work that way. I'm not a, like some of us are visual. So some of us like to watch stuff. Some of us like to listen to stuff. Some of us like to read stuff. I'm definitely more of a listen and read than a watch person. So I haven't really seen any of the shorts from anyone. I don't think we've used YouTube shorts at all, actually, if we were to look back at it, which we probably should have done. That's, again, like, is this show just going to be about like all my faults now? But yeah, basically, I'm really bad at staying on top of YouTube. It's like, I just don't, when I'm doing video stuff, it's generally live. And then I never get round to doing something with the recording of that live. And so our YouTube channel, the physician heal thyself. It's another one of those words I can't say. And we should have a catalogue of things Christina just cannot say. So it's like Dr. Person, heal thyself. And then is it something like a cobbler's kids or never has shoes?
Something like that.
Something like that, right? So I think YouTube is where, as a marketing agency, we really fall down. And I've to hold my hand up for that one. But yeah, like the YouTube shorts thing, that's really interesting, because when you first said the stat, I was thinking, but that's a global figure. That doesn't actually feel like a lot as a like percentage and stuff like that. But then if it's having that impact on YouTube channels, that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Perhaps I should delegate that to someone. I'll give someone responsibility for it, and then Jane, you can keep them accountable. Yeah, but no, like I said, the thing is, I think this is the thing, that like the stories, the reels, the TikTok style content, it's having such an impact on so many other areas marketing wise, that we need to pay attention to it, and we need to make sure that we read. I think with a lot of the way that social media and online marketing is going at the minute, where bad habits are forming, where people are producing one bit of content and then it's like blanket posting everywhere, which we shouldn't be doing. Like the content we put out should be specific for the platform it's going to. But we've got so much crossover now, it's kind of hard to do that, especially if the content you're creating is time sensitive. So if I produced a bit of content now talking about, I could produce a piece of content talking about how the new and next in digital marketing involves the metaverse, and there's loads of investment there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But is it going to do what crypto's done at the minute, which is just crash, crash, crash? That would be really timely. And so it's really hard to produce that content today and not just share it everywhere, because it is relevant on all platforms. So we're kind of in this sort of tricky thing, trying to, how do we genuinely create content that is platform specific? And then when we're served up with options where it's like, basically produce this one piece of content, this 15-second, 30-second video, and you can use it in 3 places and actually have quite big impact on the rest of your content. It's a tricky place to be, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess if you've got different audiences, I mean, I don't know if the same people that are watching YouTube Shorts are also watching Reels and TikTok, probably, but there won't be all of them in every place.
No, I think you always get a bit of crossover. And obviously, like something like YouTube is, YouTube, right, TikTok has discoverability. People will just fall over your content because it's put into their feed. Whereas YouTube, you've got searchability. So I've shown some intent, whether it's a Google search or whatever else. I've shown intent, I've shown interest, and now I'm being served your content. So I think how people will find things are quite different as well. So yeah, you're right, there are differences in the audiences. But I also think when you find something in one place and you go, oh, that's interesting, and you start looking at it in other places, when it is just the same thing everywhere, and you're then following on multiple channels, like you're the loyal audience, it's almost like when you're getting that message on all channels at the same time, it's like you're getting the message once. Whereas if I got that today on Facebook and in a week's time on LinkedIn and in 2 weeks' time on YouTube, now we're creating touch points.
Definitely.
don't know.
I suppose it depends on the thing as well, doesn't it? Because if it's breaking news, like you just said, it perhaps doesn't matter if you've seen it on all those places at the same time. But if you don't do that all the time, every day with all your content, then it perhaps doesn't matter if you do it occasionally, does it? So,
absolutely, absolutely. You got any thoughts on it, Mark?
Nothing
That'll be a no
really.
then. Awesome, cool. Come on then, Mark. What have you got for us?
Well, there was a couple of bits that you guys mentioned before we come on, so I'll perhaps leave those in case I'm duplicating things. From my side of stuff, I did see a little update in Google Search Console, which, to be honest, I only read this morning, so I haven't had a chance to see if these have been implemented in our account yet. So Google is replacing, before you used to have, when you were inspecting a URL in Search Console, you'd get sort of error valid or valid with warnings, and they're actually going to take that middle one out. So it's either going to be error or valid now, or invalid and valid, I think are the terms they're coming up with. So they're just trying to make it a bit easier to make sure that you've got all your sort of URLs that are sort of best quality, etc. But it's also going to apply to, I'm just scanning it. So things like core web vitals, mobile usability as well. So again, so there's no ambiguity. It's either usable or not usable for mobile usability. So hopefully that'll make things a bit simpler. And as far as I can tell by reading certainly this article, if articles were valid with warnings before, they should go into the valid category, which obviously makes things again a lot easier to see. And only things that have got real critical errors, if things are really slow to load, things are not loading correctly, etc., only those kind of URLs will go into the sort of invalid section. So hopefully it's going to make things a lot simpler for people to understand the reports, but also to actually correct those things. And obviously we've spoken a little bit about that. Obviously core web vitals and things like that help with your search engine optimization, making sure that your URLs are good and the site's good. So hopefully that just makes things a bit simpler for people on that. Obviously we do it for ourselves, and we have got some clients that do get into those sort of techie bits, but it's there if people want to have a look at stuff.
So for the non-techie people, they've got their website running. It's been created by the web designer, web developer, whatever. They're set up with, so the Search Console is the thing so that like Google knows it exists and is checking it regularly from an SEO perspective. Those people are probably getting emails maybe once a month, or if there's suddenly an issue. And it kind of looks like I think if you don't know, that because the language in it is so complex, it feels like a spam email.
Yeah, we do get sort of odd clients that sort of email me saying, is this real? Do I need to do something on this sort of thing if there's something cropped up on their sites or whatever? So yeah, but yeah, it is a real thing. And obviously I was going to say things obviously change over time as well. So if you've added content, what was correct a few months ago now might be incorrect because you've done something to the site, etc. So it will show you that kind of thing as well.
Okay, so when those emails come through to a website owner, again, like imagine it's someone that's not techie. Perhaps they've only been in business a few months and they're suddenly getting these emails that they're just like, they can barely read because of the language in them. Like, whose responsibility, like who should they be sending that to, and like what's their responsibility and what isn't on that stuff?
I suppose it depends on what the warnings are and things like that, really. So, if you're, managing your own website and you're uploading your own content and things like that, it might flag up things like large images that essentially are slowing the site down. So obviously you can consult with your, whoever built your website to see why that might be the case and get an understanding of how you can optimize images, whether that be before you even upload them, or you can use plugins within the site to optimize images. That's a pretty common one, really, in terms of slowing things down loading, where people, they might upload a blog and then they'll go and get an image off Pexels, Pixabay, etc. But they think, we want a really good quality image, so they'll download this massive image that is actually sort of about 100 times too big for what they actually need.
Do you remember when I very, very first started 9.5 years ago, and you having to explain this to me because I downloaded an image the size of a billboard and put it on a blog on the website? Do you remember?
I don't remember that particular one, but it's not uncommon, is it?
So again, another thing I picked up.
Yeah, but it's like those kind of things that are obviously sort of things that can happen day to day, that if you're not quite sure what you're sort of doing there. Obviously Google changes what it's looking for things sometimes, so it might be a case of like, a certain aspect of the site has been updated. So you might need to go back to your web developer and say, actually, I'm getting an error here. I've done something where it's saying that the mobile text is too small or something like that. Most of these things are pretty easy tweaks, but the reports that you get are, I suppose, like you say, once you're used to it and reading them, it's quite easy to read them. But then obviously, yeah, you do need to understand how you can correct those things.
Cool. Is there anything that should be looked out for that might be like a major issue that needs to be dealt with immediately? Is there anything worth flagging?
I suppose, one of the reports you obviously get is about indexing. So again, obviously, once the site is live, there shouldn't be too many problems with indexing, but you can make sure, sometimes I've seen a couple of bits over time where, you can block search engines, whether it be accidentally or deliberately for whatever reason. So you might have a page that you've for some reason blocked from search engines, but then you want it to be found after that. Obviously you need to correct that. If you're building a sort of test site, you can block that off. So you've got to remember to unblock that when you put the site live and things like that. So there's those kind of things. It just really depends on sort of the individual sites. Another one that will come up is, rich snippets. So obviously we work a lot with recruiters. So it's a good tool to use to see about job posts. So obviously, if you're a recruiter, you want your job posts to be found by Google. You want them to be seen as Google jobs. So you can check that as well. Again, that's one of the reports that's in there about rich snippets. So for our niche market, that would be an important one.
Cool. A few things there. Like I said, obviously when these emails come through, we know what they're about and that kind of, if there's something in there, it's like I just forward them on to Mark, and then Mark forwards them on to the other Mark when it's something that's a bit more sort of codey, techie. I'll describe it that way. But it's like, I think it's one of those things when you know. But if you don't, it's just another email that's just like gobbledygook, and you'd just be like, should I be paying attention to this or not? So I'm really glad you brought that one up. Jane, what else have you got for us? I'll exhaust you two first, and then I'll share what I've got if there's anything left.
Fair enough. Yeah, a couple of things. Instagram pinned posts. We've talked about it a little while ago. They were testing it. They have now rolled it out. I've had it for about a week, I think. So you can pin 3 of your favourite posts up to the top of your grid. I did wonder whether they also stayed where they were, but they don't. They do actually move to the top. Because I thought they might end up there twice. But yeah, you go into the post, basically 3 little dots at the corner, and then pick pin to your profile, and same in reverse if you want to take it off again. So it's just quite nice. If I don't often actually go into someone's grid and look at the whole grid, but it's quite nice that you can put your best things up at the top there, or your promotions or whatever you're doing, really.
I think that's it. So we've had pinned posts on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter for like years and years and years. Yeah. So it's always been a good strategy to have, like, whatever the campaign is you're running at the minute, you have that pinned. If someone is researching you, if they land on your profile, it's the first thing they're going to see. So even if you've been posting stuff about the Jubilee or the fact that it's sunny, or like the kind of the softer post, if someone's landing for the first time, you're controlling the initial message they're getting. So it's really good from that perspective. I've had it for about 2-3 weeks. I kind of got it halfway between them saying that they were testing it, and then saying it's rolled out. I could literally, when they said it was rolled out, I'd had it for about 2 weeks at that point. So yeah, but I've just pinned my podcast. because when I have a guest episode, I do images that are like, basically it's one image, but it's split into 3 across the grid. And it's always been annoying where as soon as you post, now those 3 images are split. So actually it's really handy to just be able to like post to my heart's content without worrying too much about pattern and balance and everything else, knowing that I can just keep the most current interview pinned at all times. But equally, if we were running a campaign to promote the LinkedIn course that we've got, it's only 100 quid, guys. Go buy it. But yeah, if we were running a campaign to advertise the LinkedIn course, we could have 3 images that represent that, and that would be pinned during that campaign. That campaign ends, we just create the next one. And if we then go back and rerun that campaign, we can just repin those images again. So yeah, I was like, hallelujah. Felt like a good move.
Definitely.
Felt like a good move.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything else Instagram-wise this week, the last couple of weeks?
No, not Instagram. Actually, myself, I've got a couple of things that are other platforms, but not Instagram.
Go on then, let's have it.
So TikTok have started doing this. The series has been around for a little while. It's called Made for TikTok, and it's like a sort of hints and tips and things for marketers and creators to use TikTok. I haven't seen any of the first series, but they've just released a second series that apparently is a different sort of format. So this one is like a sort of late night talk show theme, and it's got sort of comedy sketches in it, and there's a guy that does like the sound clips for TikTok. He's kind of on there as well, so he's putting little sounds into it as they're interviewing people. So the one I just watched earlier was people from Nerf, the Nerf gun people, and this girl had come on and she was sort of showing what they do and her best tips for how they get their content and engagement and stuff on there. So I just thought that was really useful. I've only watched the one episode, but yeah, they're only about 5 minutes long, so nice and easy just to watch when you've got a few minutes spare, and actually full of helpful tips.
Yeah, really good, really good. Did you see the thing about TikTok? So basically, people go on TikTok and then they complain that they get sucked in and they've lost 3 hours of their lives, right?
Yep.
So I think the headline I saw was about TikTok trying to do something about app addiction.
Oh.
So what they've done is they're rolling something out where basically as a user, you can ask TikTok to remind you to take a break from the app. So I think you set the timing. So if you said, right, every time I'm on TikTok, I want to get a reminder after 15 minutes to turn the app off. So brilliant concept. Absolutely love it. But I just can't see anyone using it.
Probably not. You've got to remember in the first place to go in and set the timer as well, haven't you?
Honestly, I think by the time you open the app, you're going to watch 2 videos and that's it. Too late, mate. Game over.
Yeah. I take it you can't set it permanently. So sort of every time I go on TikTok.
No, you set it permanently. So every time you open it, this reminder. But I think because you'll be so into it, you'd swipe the reminder, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
it's a bit like when my Apple Watch says you need to stand up. I go, I'm on a call. And then it's like 3 hours later. So I think brilliant, really, really good idea. Absolutely love it. But I just can't imagine. I just can't see. Oh, Paul Green says he'd use it. There's always one, isn't there? So
I'd use it and set it for like 30 seconds.
Oh dear. So yeah, Nicole said Instagram has it too. But yeah, she doesn't know anyone that's tried it out yet either. I think this is the thing. It's like when you open a social media channel, it's because you want to engage, you want to spend time in there. Like people complain about what they've seen on Facebook. Oh, LinkedIn is just turning into Facebook. But they keep opening the bloody app, don't they? They keep going in there. It's like when I hear people complaining about LinkedIn, I'm like, well, who's that content coming from? Unfollow them. If you don't like the content, unfollow it. What you're being fed is what you're teaching the platforms you want to see. So stop looking at it. But yeah, there you go. But like I said, I think right. So Paul Green would use it. I've just seen a comment in the chat on Facebook. I'm not going to bring that one on screen, but yeah, Paul, there's a little message there for you suggesting that what you're looking at might like you might need that timer to limit what you've been watching on TikTok. I don't know. I don't know what the insinuation is there. So Paul would use it. I don't think I will. Jane, would you?
Probably not, no.
Mark would for 30 seconds because he hates TikTok.
I'd have to download the app again.
So you'd have to open it to set it. That's the issue. So let us know in the comments, would you use it? Do you use TikTok, and would you put a timer on? Because I'm interested. Honestly, I just don't think people will do it. I think people believe that they can self-manage in a way and don't need something like, I don't need to be told not to waste my life on watching TikTok videos. Although the reality is quite different. Cool. Okay, so I mentioned LinkedIn there. There's been an update on LinkedIn in terms of pages being able to comment on things and like things in the newsfeed. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. We've had it on the Green Umbrella one, or I've had it on the Green Umbrella one for about a month and a half now.
Yeah.
But loads of people haven't got it. And obviously you don't have it on the Green Umbrella. Or maybe you do now, but you didn't for a while,
No,
did you?
I don't.
So yeah, it's down to person, not page.
Mm-hmm. So it's yeah. So like I said, you've had it for a while. But so previously, first of all, a LinkedIn company page just couldn't talk to anyone. It could post, and if people commented on that, it could engage back. But it couldn't do any sort of outreach. It couldn't go and engage on other people's content. And then we got this, featured hashtags feature. So basically on your page, you can feature 3 hashtags. And then if people are posting using those hashtags, you could comment on those. So if you've got like a brand related hashtag, that made a lot of sense. Okay. But obviously you need to have quite a big audience to get people using the hashtag to make that be of value to you. So we got a little bit of room to move, but still not a lot. Our wings are still pretty clipped as a LinkedIn company page. But now, when you are floating through your normal LinkedIn feed, if you see something irrelevant of whether there's any link between that post and your company page, so it could be from a person, it could be from another company, it could be an ad even. But if you saw it and you thought this is relevant, my company page should be commenting on this, you'll be able to just toggle from you to the company page and leave the comment, leave your bit of engagement there. Which I'm like, that's like, oh my God, that's so exciting.
Even though you couldn't do it, you actually could, because I had a Chrome extension that I put on that actually allowed you to talk to people as a company page.
Well, it
didn't always work, so it must have been there in the background.
There was like a hack where you could, if you went, so on a company could talk to another company page if, let's say you saw the post, and then you clicked on that post specifically, there was a specific URL, you could change part of the URL and add your company page name in, and then it would let you. But
that's faff, though.
There's a meme, isn't there, with this Afro-Caribbean woman going, I ain't got time for that. I can't believe I just did that. That's actually worse than swearing. I'm more mortified by that than actual swearing. So yeah. Do you know, I've got LinkedIn on my other screen, right? And he's moving now. Mark was frozen on this other screen, and it was like me and Jane were really smiling and talking, and Mark was just like,
that's his usual face, isn't it?
Distracted me. So LinkedIn, being able to go and engage on other things, like for me, that is an exciting update. The fact that it'll be free and easy. It's just like, for brands that are really struggling to build a following, to find places to engage, to get their name out there, it's a massive step forward on LinkedIn. It really, really is. And LinkedIn, when we look at how many people use it compared to things like YouTube and Facebook, it's like way down on the list. It's like maybe number 6, number 7 in the top 10 of sort of social media platforms used in the UK. And because of the growth in TikTok, it's probably dropped again. It's probably like closer to it's probably more like an 8, 9, 10th place at the moment. So actually having that possibility where especially if you're an e-commerce brand, it's kind of irrelevant. But from a B2B perspective, to have that ability now in a place where there's not as much additional noise as there is on other platforms, I think that's really powerful. That makes me happy.
Hopefully they'll roll it out fully as soon as possible as well, because I know there's a lot of people don't have it yet.
Yeah, like I said, now it's been announced over the weekend, and the very end of last week, over the weekend. I read that Monday morning.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Sunday night, either really late Sunday night or Monday morning. I can't remember now. But like I said, so now that it's properly been announced, hopefully it'll come out much quicker. So cool. Yeah. Fab. So can I just say, Nicole said it was a good impression. I just did. That's one person that knew the meme. Cool. Okay. What else have we got? There's changes on Instagram in terms of like some updates to Reels. So your Reels can now be longer, 90 seconds. So still not like the 10 minutes that we can do on TikTok if we wanted to, but they're getting longer, which is great. We're getting templates to help us create Reels as well. And previously, when you created a Reel, you couldn't add any polls or stickers or anything like that to them. You'd create the Reel, then you'd add it to your story, and then once it's in story, that's where you would add all those bits. Well, they're now bringing those into Reels. And I just realised, because I'm always fiddling with something, I picked up a pair of scissors to fiddle with on live lunch. I don't know what that says about me. I'm going to put it away. Kim's like that behind the computer now, going, ah. I've got my little fidget cube instead. There you go.
I've got a pen to fidget with.
That'll keep me focused. They'll just be clicking. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Cool. So yes, we've had some updates on Reels, which I think that was one of my frustrations. I'm not very good with the video content. We've already talked about that in this episode. So things like Reels, when it comes to clipping everything to trimming things and clipping them together and getting the timing right on the audio and then I want it to do something, but that, I can't add that question sticker in or that poll in that moment. And I get really frustrated with them. And then I just tell Kim the idea I had and make her create it. Right. And then she has to create it 5 times because, as we said, the communication bit is she created something really cool yesterday and I was like, yeah, I don't like it because, and there's one tiny thing. She's like, brilliant, got to start again. But there you go. We're going to make it better. So it's okay. But like I said, creating this stuff can be a frustration. So I think the easier it becomes, having these, the stickers and the polls and stuff, as part of the Reel creation, I think just gives us more flexibility. And templates, oh my God, I think people that are starting off with Reels, having a template to work with, again, will just make it far less overwhelming. Because it kind of is, by the time you're like, well, how do I add that additional clip? They don't fit together the right way. Okay, right, now I can move my clips around. Brilliant. Okay, well, trimming it, but how do I, press, it's and then we've got to think about the sound. There's just too many moving parts for a lot of people for something that is 30 seconds, 15 seconds. So hopefully these changes will make it a bit easier. And as the Reels get longer as well, 90 seconds, I think is a more meaningful amount of time. You can introduce yourself, deliver some content, leave a call to action comfortably in 90 seconds without it being too rushed. And without you feeling like you need to fill the time either. So I'm quite happy about that one. Do you ever do any Reels, Mark, for the band?
No, I should do, to be honest. I need to. It's only ever really sort of normal stories and posts. So, but now it's becoming a bit more sort of prevalent. But the trouble is we're rubbish at getting videos of ourselves. That's the only thing as well, because obviously we're playing at the point, so we've got to rely on someone else taking the videos and then us being organised to get them off them. And
have you not got an entourage and roadies and stuff like that can do this for you?
If only. If we had roadies, that would be the best thing. But
we need to go to more of your gigs. Or get an Apple Watch, and then you can set your phone up, and then you could just like click on your watch and tell it to start recording.
Yeah, but that still takes organisations, and you've got to remember that we are musicians.
Yeah, but you're not a drummer. There's hope
Yeah, but
for you.
there's a whole joke about that, isn't there?
Is that
What do you call someone who hangs around with musicians?
what?
A drummer.
Oh.
But in
Never
our
heard that.
case, just in case Lee is actually watching this, he is by far the best musician in our band. So there is a caveat for everything. I'll just stop playing. That's probably the best thing.
Brilliant. Paul Green wants to know what about the group is.
When we were younger.
Wow. Cool. Okay, gang. Anything else? What else have we got for today?
I had a few bits about Facebook feed. So there's some big changes coming. We have talked about it a little bit before, in that the feed is going to change to be a bit more AI driven, based on engagement and popularity rather than on personal connections. But also they're sort of streamlining apparently the whole platform a little bit and bringing some of the messaging back in. So presumably if you want to just DM someone, you don't have to jump out and to go to Messenger. You can do it from within again. And then also they're doing a sort of more predictable access to the feed. So in theory, you'll be able to sort it in chronological order, but then filter it by groups, pages, or people. Which actually, if you can do that, sounds really good.
Oh, that
for me, but maybe as a business, you don't want to be filtered out.
No, I mean that would just be fantastic. So it's always been prevalent. Prevalent means common, right? It's like people have always done it. Mm-hmm. Just make sure I've used the right word. So people using a Facebook profile from a personal brand perspective, 100%. Like people have always done that. But it gets to that point where you've got so much stuff coming into your feed. So much between the ads and stuff from pages and groups and then individuals. And way back when, it's probably about 4 years ago, you could like organize your friends on Facebook into lists. So I'd have like the list of people I went to school with and my list of family people as well. And like that was ideal because I could like click on family, I'd see all the content that they'd shared, engage with all that. Fantastic. But at that point, I wasn't really using my personal Facebook profile to connect with business people, whereas I do now. So what I'm saying might feel like it's not wholly relevant because we're not going to be able to filter by groups of people. But just being able to filter by, these are all the groups I'm in right now, I can go and catch up with all of that because most of the groups I'm in are business related. They're not personal. Because I've got so much happening already on Facebook, I've really tried to limit it. I'm not a member of Daventry buy and sell groups and stuff like that. Like all of my Facebook groups are business related. They're communities I'm choosing to be in, whether it's for my own like entrepreneurial development or because they're like recruiter groups and things like that, where we can be talking to prospects. So being able to filter that way, because then I can be in the mindset of the business Christina when I'm doing it. I can look in the day, that's all the content I'm going to see. I'm not going to get distracted by the other stuff. When I'm home at the evening, I can just look at the people stuff. When I want to do stuff and like really think about, when I want to check in on like what content are we putting out there for all the pages we manage, I can filter it by pages and look at it that way. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is like look at your own content as your Facebook page content in a feed with other people's business content, and you can start to see what I'm producing, is it actually standing out? I'm posting all this great stuff, but I'm not getting any engagement. But when I look at it in that context, I can see actually I think it's good, but everyone else's is like 10 times better. I'm doing loads of links and they're doing like photos and videos and lives, and okay, I need to switch up my content that way. So it allows you to look with fresher eyes. So yeah, I like that idea. I think it makes my life easier. Nicole's put okay, so Nicole's saying she's put I don't know why I can't read this. Okay.
Just put a poll on Instagram and Facebook
So
asking
because
if people use a timer.
that's it, right? Okay, got you with you. So yeah, go and check that out. So yeah, we'll see what people do. Would they use that timer feature? But yeah, like I said, I think being able to filter the content in your Facebook feed would be brilliant.
Definitely.
I'd definitely use that. So I think that's everything we were going to talk about. Unless Mark, did you have something else as well? Or have we covered it all?
No, I think that was a bit about it, really. I had a similar thing on the Facebook stuff, but
Cool. I mean, I'm like, I need to do someone sent me an email campaign I need to do some feedback on. So I need to go and create that. But I will just mention it really quickly because it's been like in my head all morning. I'm like, shall I talk about it on live lunch? Shall I? Well, I'm gonna. Basically, it's an email newsletter, but there is no news in this newsletter. It's all like, hey, enjoy the sun. Here's an offer, here's an offer, here's an offer, here's an offer. And it's like, that's not a newsletter. It's a sales pitch. It's a sales email. If you're sending a sales email, only have one offer in it. If there's too many options, we're creating a confused mind, and a confused mind never buys. So yeah, there's my little brain dump for you. Paul's just asked a very good question. I knew there was something we were forgetting. Look, I'm playing with the scissors again. I knew, Kim, take them away from me. There's a reason I'm not allowed sharp objects. So Paul's asked, have we got a guest next week? And I'm sat here thinking, I'm sure there's something we've missed. And it's the fact that next week is crazy. Absolutely freaking crazy. So Tuesday, I am in Oxford with a group of business owners having like a half-day strategy planning thing. I'll be speaking to the group on all kinds of things, marketing and marketing planning for the rest of the year. Then Wednesday, I'm in London at an event. And then Thursday, I'm still in London at the UK Recruiter Rec Tech event. So this is like a showcase event for recruitment technology providers. So there's always an element of social media in that. So I'll be there and I'm there on a stand, talking to people, being sociable. And then when we finish there, we'll be racing off. I'll be racing off to join you guys in at Whittlebury Hall for the annual team conference. Now we call it the annual team conference, but this will be the first one since 2019. So I'm really excited about it because it's always been a big event in our calendar. But what that means is next Thursday at 12 noon, Mark and Jane and Nicole will be, no, see, I'm getting it wrong. So Mark and Nicole will be in Whittlebury putting up a stand. I'll be in London talking at an event. Jane will be in the office tearing her hair out.
No, Jane's got the day off.
Jane's got the day off. Kim's in the office tearing her hair out, hoping that the business still functions. So we were going to try and do a pre-record, and we were going to do this, and we were going to do, and then we're like, well, we'll just do it remotely. And then we remembered last time we tried to do a live stream when we were out at an event, that was the moment someone really important wanted to talk to me, and then I had to talk to them, so I didn't jump on, and phone connections and Wi-Fi, and so there is no live lunch next week. That's the short version. But I think it's for damn good reason. Yep. But I promise that on Thursday next week, we will make sure Thursday, 12 o'clock next week, there is something posted where like I'll send a photo through to Kim from where I am. Mark and Nicole can send some stuff through as well. Jane, if you want to. I don't know. Are you actually going anywhere or not? You're just at home?
It's my son's 16th birthday, so
there you go.
He probably doesn't want his photo sharing on here.
You can send a photo of like cake or something. So yeah, like we're going to be all over the place doing all sorts of things. So we'll make sure something is posted at 12 o'clock next Thursday, but it won't be a live stream. So I apologise. I think that will only be the second time. That'll be the second time we haven't done a live lunch in What episode is this? 100 and what?
112, I think.
112. So we're 110 out of 112. As a percentage, I think that's pretty good delivery. I think we can tick the consistency box. But yeah, next week, no live lunch, I'm afraid. And then I haven't told you guys this, but the week after that, I think I told Jane, but I don't know if she clocked it. I'm on holiday the week after.
Oh, joy.
So that would be
no live lunch that week either. Then.
No, that would be you two, because that's the 4th, 5th, 6th, that's the 7th of July, right? Or is there a week in between? Oh no, there's a week in between.
It's a week in
right,
between, yeah.
We've got a week in between. This is like June is just crazy. I cannot think beyond the 11th of July right now. It's like everything's merging into one. So there you go. No live lunch this week. The following week, no guests, but we'll be telling you like all the crazy stuff that came out of our antics. In fact, I'm not here that Thursday because I'm on a 2-day retreat with a bunch of recruiters. And then the week after that, I'm on holiday.
It's not good enough, is it?
This is why it's not the Christina show, it's the Green Umbrella show. You don't need me. I have to say, do you know what? People always talk to me about, oh yeah, I've seen live lunch, I saw this bit, that bit was good, that bit was good. I've had so much feedback recently, and it's all been about the episode where I wasn't here. So I'm actually thinking, like, what should I just like do a guest appearance like once every quarter or something? Just leave you guys to it.
No.
No, you're not up for that.
No.
Yeah. So the next couple of weeks probably going to be the two of you, Nicole, Kim, maybe a guest. We'll see who we can come up with. And we've got Zoe Bryn coming in as a guest in the next. I can't remember what the date is. The next few weeks. Can you hear they've just started cutting grass? Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, good. So Zoe Bryn is a lovely lady, but she's all about sustainability and conscious leadership and that kind of stuff. So she's going to come in. We're going to have a chat around that and basically like how that fits into marketing, how your marketing can be more sustainable than that sort of stuff. So kind of a little bit of crossover with some of the stuff we talked about with Jodie last week, but like I say, more in terms of more from a top level leadership kind of perspective as well, which I think will be really cool. So there you go. I'm going to stop talking now. I'm going to wrap it up. I said we'd keep this one short, didn't I? Well, we didn't. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, we'll see you all in 2 weeks' time. Bye for now. See you, everyone.